average American produces 4.4 pounds of trash each day. Over half of that material is made up of recyclable goods. However, in our community, we have very limited access to recycling. The access that we do have are dumpsters that are only operational 16 hours per week. And our area also ships the materials to other communities for the processing. But we have found an abandoned coal dock that we would like to turn into a Class A recycling plant. This would provide easier access to the residents of our area while also bringing more jobs to our community. We will expand into curbside pickup, but for now, we will have a drop-off area to make the access easier for our locations. Our long-term goal is to reach everybody in our tri-state area community.
We are happy little Industries from Fairview High School. I'm Brianna Taylor. This is Kaylee Evans, Joe Soule, Ronnie Johnstone, and Grace Sluss.
There's an increasing problem in the world with the mishandling of products that could be recycled rather than sent to a landfill. Due to the insufficiency of people to account for this, the environment and world as a whole are beginning to suffer more apparently. A safer and cleaner environment is desirable for all, and it is easier to ensure given people put forth the effort necessary to go through with it. Opening newer, more advanced recycling centers would benefit the market and those who are in it indefinitely.
Our solution to this problem is to construct a Class A recycling center. Alongside this, we'd like to introduce a curbside pickup service to the Ashland tri-state area. Our chosen site is an old abandoned coal dock off of US 23. The previous companies here were Kenwest Terminals and Redbuck Incorporated. The employees at Kenwest had very good bonuses and also provided with community services such as sponsoring little leagues and local schools.
All right, so here you can see our model. We have the model of our recycling plant as long as the offices and the drop-off center. Our model would also have access to the river, which would make transporting our materials easier, as long as access to the railroad, which would also do the same thing. So anyone is a target customer for us and what we desire to do. People every day are consuming products that are turning into waste and are mishandled, and how they dispose of products are not correct. Younger people from the ages of 12 may not be aware of the increasing problem. But while most people do not live up to the good expectations of recycling, it generally should not be blamed on the individual. It is a failure of recycling companies, guardians, or authority figures to inform younger people about how to get it. They lead by example, and since they do not set such standards, none will follow suit. Another lack of effort is made by most recycling companies themselves. The lack of emphasis is apparent, as the lackadaisical concern is somehow accepted at a time when the environment is at its worst.
A large percentage of residents in our area disposes their garbage weekly to trash companies. Competing with the trash companies will require the residents of our area to have convenient methods of disposing of recyclable materials. Once materials are gathered and processed, we will resell the materials for industrial use. The sale of recycled materials is a well-established and highly competitive industry. Companies have long-term agreements with suppliers and typically pay very competitive prices to purchase these types of recyclables. Larger volume producers are usually under contract with their service providers, and many have recycling equipment on site to assist with processing their materials. Our goal is to branch out to other companies and provide an efficient process to help them recycle while also benefiting our business as well.
We plan to attract our target market through social media, radios, commercials, and television broadcasts.
Our current plan is to simply start with drop-off centers for recycling. We want to have locations which are accessible to not only our area, but also to the surrounding communities. They would take their recycling to special drop-off centers that the plant would then pick up. They could also take their recycling to the plant itself. We would initially start off with one recycling plant, but hopefully in the future we would expand to curbside pickup. This would broaden the idea of expansion and brought in the future hope to open up more plants and more drop-off centers. One curbside pickup would have a minimal subscription fee, and we would pick up the recycled products at your house, making it easier for the customer.
Now, in order to make this all true, you have to look at the finances. So up on the PowerPoint up here, you can see a spreadsheet, and I've tallied up some approximate costs in order to make this real. So it would cost around $600,000 to build the facility. That includes hiring people to actually build it, plus plumbing, electricity. Followed by that, you can see the salary for most of our workers. And at the very bottom, you can see that the total for the first year to build and then run the facility would be about 1 hour, or $1 million. Now, in Ashland, there are 9,000 households. If half of those households recycle with a $20 recycling fee, not unlike a garbage sanitation fee, we would be able to pull in around $1 million. Following that, approximately all the Ashland citizens produce 186 tons of aluminum total a year. Processing costs $75 a ton, and we can get a total profit of around $315,000. So we can see through a net profit up there that by year one, we'll have about $315,000 profit. Year two, $924,000 profit. And by year three, if we plan to expand, we can use some of that profit we've gained.
Famous painter Bob Ross once said, "If you don't like it, change it. It's your world." We are Happy Little Industries, Fairview High School.
Any questions?
Great job. Does the building cost also include cost of any equipment?
Yes, at a already used price, so it's a used value. It would have to be replaced once we gain a profit.
And that equipment what kind of equipment would you need?
We need some compressors to compress the recycled, and the aluminum's kind of hard to work with. So there's a bunch of different really specific tiny things.
Along with that, garbage trucks for the curbside pickup and to transport the materials.
Something you could think about is maybe partnering with your the trash company to have them do the pickup for you and bring it to you. That way you don't have all that liability. I know that's a future plan, but that's something to consider, is partnering with some of those resources that have already perfected that. Good job.
There's some trends in recycling, and it used to be the U.S. would ship a lot of its recycled material to China, and China is not buying as much. Have you given any thought to how you might address these trends?
So Brady Industries is opening up a kind of aluminum processing center near our area. We would likely sell most of our processed aluminum to Brady to then sell to car dealerships.
Also, most auto manufacturers are switching to use aluminum now because it has been found to be cheaper and stronger than steel. So the market for aluminum is growing vastly.
What about plastics and cardboard and another significant part of waste that could be recycled, but how can you address that, if at all?
Well, currently, if this were to go through, then we would focus primarily on aluminum until we gain the profits to buy those further facilities to process plastic and cardboard and paper, and we would have a place in the drop-off that would hold that until we gain those facilities to actually process them.
Well, one of the things, when I was reading over your report, I think you're recycling 851 tons a year of aluminum. That's a lot of aluminum for recycling. I just, knocked it down in cans because, a lot of the scrappers, if they have car bodies or anything, they're going to recycle that themselves. And I was doing some numbers, and I came out with you need 128,000 cans per week based on 32 cans per pound. And that's a lot of aluminum. I mean, and there's not a lot of other recyclable aluminum around. So are your numbers appear to be a little inflated? Is that possible?
Well, when I looked back, those numbers on that paper I gave you were inflated, and I reran it, and I was able to fix it. So I looked at the amount of cans Americans went through a day by just kind of drinking soda. So there was about 4 or 5 a day. And if half the households in that 9,000, we'd be able to get around that 156 tons. Plus, before I didn't calculate the sanitation fee we would be applying. So our funds are much better there.
Okay, thank you.
One area that you may have addressed, you may not have, but obviously you're going to get income from those that are using your services and paying the $20 a week or a month to do the recycling, but you're also going to be getting income from those that you sell those recyclables to. I didn't see that, and I may have missed it in your financials. Was that included in your financials, the end sale?
It was specific in the pamphlets. It wasn't mentioned on the PowerPoint, but you can sell aluminum at sort of an inflated price to Brady because we would be the closest here. Normally it would soda about 0.7, but because we would save 70 cents, we would save them transportation fees because we're so close. We can boost that up about 15 cents per pound.
Great.
Okay, thank you all very much.